Welcome to our vlog series on human adaptation. My name is Pippa Bailey and I'm Head of Research Innovation at Ipsos MORI. Over the next few weeks we will deliver a number of vlogs which explore how the coronavirus is impacting our behaviours across all areas of life, business, media, brands and society, and discuss how shifts we are experiencing now may evolve and shape our attitudes and behaviours in the future. We will offer some pithy and provocative food for thought by drawing on analysis from our experts across different industries and areas such as behavioural science, cultural analysis, societal trends, passive monitoring and social intelligence.
When we look at social media data, we can see such a wealth of really interesting things that are going on, especially right at this moment. So my team, we deal with all types of unstructured data, but of course social media data is really of the moment, and it's changing so much from moment to moment, from day to day, what people are saying, what people are doing as this crisis unfolds across lots of different markets. One of the things that I think has been super duper interesting has been just those small things that can make a big difference. So for example, if we look at the hashtags that people are using, on the 23rd of March, people were talking a lot about these memes. So there was a great one from Spain about the Spanish army that got shared around quite a lot. But there were loads and loads of different memes and humor posts, and you could see, if we looked at this bubble graph, lots of different related hashtags popping up. By the next day, the news got a bit more dire, and you just saw stay at home, and all of those related hashtags coming to the fore more and more. So, you know, what difference one day makes. So if we look over the course of the whole of March, at the very top line level, actually, you'd see, looking at social media posts in English in general, that actually you're not seeing a huge amount of change. Medical discussion is definitely going up, but broadly speaking, the overarching themes are all more or less there. It's when we dig beneath those headlines. So if we think about the medical discussion specifically, early on, a lot of that was a bit more about home remedies, some of which were perhaps a little bit less desirable, at least ones that I wouldn't recommend trying at home. For example, drinking cow urine as a way to prevent COVID-19. Yeah, not recommended. There were some others I won't go into. But by the end of the month, you had a lot more discussion about what's going on in the healthcare environment specifically. So whether that's about ventilators, anti-malarial drugs, etc. And some of that is driven by what's being discussed in the news, but some of it is also people sharing rumors, people sharing ideas, people sharing priorities. And it's important to understand what's going on there. Then if we think overall about a completely different category, so say entertainment, you can also really see how that's played such a key role as people talk about what they're doing to fill the vacuum of the time that they would normally spend doing other things, or to help entertain their children, or to keep some sort of engagement going on in their lives when they can't get outside as much. So whether it's Tiger King coming up and people sharing theories and talking about that was time wasted, or I loved it and you can't have missed it, like all of those things add up to sort of big cultural movements going on that we can spot and use social intelligence to see, but also use analytics to help us unpick quite a lot more. So what I'm really hoping is that as time goes on, we can create some super interesting and powerful analyses for our clients, because this is such an unusual time to live through, and there's so many exciting things that we can learn, and so many really big questions that businesses and organizations are asking of us and asking of themselves. So we're looking forward to doing quite a lot more of that in the days and weeks to come.
Hi, I'm Ellen Thornton-Firkin, and I'm the Head of Creative Excellence at Ipsos MORI. I'm going to talk about advertising and how during this crisis it could be a force for good for your brand, your company, and the nation. From a business point of view, we know that it's rarely good for brands to go dark and stop advertising, both for the long-term health of the brand, but also because of the dangers of perceived silence during times of crises. In his March the 17th Marketing Week article, Mark Ritson highlighted that at some point consumers will return to the streets, the cafes, and the various other activities that they've been denied during the dark days ahead. Keep the brand light burning, because the cost of snuffing it out for the rest of 2020 and then trying to reignite it next year is gigantic. Thinking ahead to when we come out of the crisis, you want your brand to be the one that comes to mind most easily as we emerge from the difficult times, and you'll achieve this by being there through it. While we know that people are not traditionally keen on advertising, and this negativity has been increasing over the last decade, now things are a little different. Now is an opportunity for brands to do good through advertising by helping to promote a sense that while the context of our lives has changed, by and large, things carry on. We interviewed nearly 1,000 adults aged 18 to 65 in the US, asking questions about the role brands can play and what people want to hear from brands in terms of their communications during the crisis. 70% said that they wanted to continue to hear from brands on what they had to offer. You have permission to keep talking to people through the crisis. But when you talk to them, people want to hear what you can do for them. How is your brand going to help them during the crisis? What are you going to do for the greater good? It's against this backdrop that brands are actively seen to be doing the right thing will prosper. Brewdog and other alcohol and perfume companies making hand sanitizer, Nike making all their training videos on its app free for all, video streaming companies releasing films early to keep the nation entertained. All of these big or small gestures made successful by those companies thinking about being authentic and faithful to what their brand stands for, making sure that they act and do as much or even before telling people about it. Find the right story, strike the right tone for these difficult times. It might be that there are types of actions that aren't right for your brand, but you still have a role to play by continuing to advertise. We asked people in the US how they wanted advertising to make them feel during the crisis. And it's clear that they want it there, and it's clear that they want it to make them feel safe, reassured, to provide entertainment, information, and, importantly, facilitate social cohesion. Brands and advertising are part of the everyday fabric of our lives, and we'd miss them if they were gone. So, this is a question of short-term survival for you and your brands, but it's also essential to prepare the medium-term revival, to plan for the day after tomorrow when people will go back to their normal lives. It's about making sure that through doing the right thing now, by continuing to be heard, you'll continue to be part of people's lives in the future.
Hello, my name is Jamie Thorpe and I'm Head of Experience Management at Ipsos. My focus for this session is on why CX is more important now than ever before. I'd like to start with one of my favourite quotes, which is from Bill Gates, who was once quoted as saying, "Your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning." At the time he was absolutely right. It's a sentiment that still holds true today, but we have to recognise that was a different time. Customer experience and expectations have changed dramatically since then. The customer has become more savvy, more fickle, more promiscuous than ever before. We now live in a world where a third of customers would leave a brand they love after one bad experience. More than 70% of the next generation say they prefer experiences over material possessions, and over 86% of us would pay more for a better experience. The human experience is by definition emotionally charged. Ipsos research shows that brands with which we have an emotional connection enjoy preference scores twice that of those we are merely functionally satisfied. that emotional connection manifests in a plus 35% likelihood of customer engagement. Now overlay the unprecedented situation we find ourselves in today, where the coronavirus has the potential to shut our country down. Make no mistake, CX is a game changer. When market conditions are challenging, CX is often a differentiator. Customer priorities change almost overnight, resulting in spend being scrutinised and/or redirected. Competition toughens and expectations evolve at pace to newfound levels. Life will go on and we will return to normal. The question is, of course, what will the new normal look like? Authenticity is absolutely key, and the world is watching. The actions people and brands take now, or not as the case may be, will impact their future. I've seen people publish everything from the truly cringeworthy to blatant profiteering to genuine authenticity through a desire to do well for and help fellow humans. Everything from Mike Ashley having to apologise for not closing stores and seeing a massive negative on an already low brand preference, to a website entitled Which High Street Shops Should Get Your Money, a website that focuses on how brands have reacted and how they're treating their staff amid the crisis. We are emotionally charged creatures with long memories. We have the propensity to warm to those who treated us well and hold a long grudge against those that don't. In this environment, brands literally can't afford not to focus on the customer experience. By and large, customer opportunities will be reduced, making each that much more important, further emphasising the need to operationalise customer experience. There are many well-documented examples in the public domain of the proven connection between CX performance and financial return. Second only to staying safe, at this time what could be more important than focusing on relationships and addressing any and all barriers to purchase or retention? Before I wrap, I'd like to share 3 customer trends we're seeing. Pre-COVID-19, these were important. During and post-COVID-19, they will become even more important than ever. In the 2008 credit crunch, for example, we saw CX leaders deliver 3 times the return for their shareholders of those that failed to focus on their CX. The first trend is Know Me. As customers, we know how much data brands hold on us. From experiential to preferences, the techniques for harvesting data nowadays are intelligent and powerful. We've spent much of our relationship with brands wary of sharing personal data. Post-GDPR, we're much more comfortable with that and accepting, but we're seeing a notable shift towards dissatisfaction with brands that don't use what they know about the customer and fail to engage in context. The second is Hear Me. This is about letting me tell you what I think in a way that I want to, when I choose to, through a channel that I choose. Brands need to remember that in this current situation, customers might not be where you might normally find them. The reliance on brands needing to hear customers is absolutely heightened during a crisis, making Hear Me even that much more important. The third and final trend is Value Me. Simply put, this is around action. The perception of inaction is one of the biggest frustrations customers have. Ipsos has leading thinking on the company and customer effort ratio. If the customer feels they're putting more effort in the company, then the negative relationship is impacted. It's not always monetary or physical, but value my feedback. Acknowledge it, make me believe you're going to do something with it. If not, defection or worse, social media may be my next step. Thanks for listening, folks. Before I go, I'd just encourage you to understand the value of your CX, engage customers in context, open up your channels, hear what your customers are saying, value their feedback, and most importantly, act. Learn how to gain the experience advantage and don't let your business pay the long-term price for poor CX. Thank you.
We are constantly learning and adapting about how we are currently engaging with people, customers, consumers, the public. With heightened emotion and sensitivity, we all need to act with thought and consideration for positive outcomes. Thank you for listening. Please do join us again next time.